Hello and welcome to this course on engineering mechanics for GATE. Let's start with the overview of engineering mechanics. A car having a weight W is moving in the direction as shown in the figure with an acceleration A, and the job is to find the reaction on the front wheel as well as the rear wheel. We can tackle this problem in multiple number of ways. The way number 1 would be with the help of Newton-Euler equation. Newton-Euler's equation. And the way number 2 would be with the help of D'Alembert's principle. D'Alembert's principle. And the way number 3 would be with the help of intuition. With the help of intuition. Let's start with the help of intuition. Let's say you are sitting inside a car. Say the car started with uniform acceleration. The moment it starts with a uniform acceleration, without any apparent force, you feel like you are pushing in the backward direction because of inertia. Your inertia want to stay at rest. The vehicle want to move in the forward direction. That's the reason you feel like you are pushing in the backward direction. In the second instant, you assume you yourself as the entire car. The moment you start with your uniform acceleration, in this case, there is a weight transfer happen onto the rear wheel. What I mean to say, there is a weight will increase on the rear wheel. Parallelly, there is a weight reduction will happen on the front wheel. Based on this intuition, hypothetically, the answer C will fit according to our intuition. Let's check the same thing as per the D'Alembert's principle. You know, Newton's law is fully applicable in case of a point mass or a particle mass. We extend with the help of Euler's law in case of a rigid body or a three-dimensional object. In case of a rigid body, with the help of Euler's law, we can write summation of forces is equal to mass times the acceleration of CG or center of mass. We can bring mass times the acceleration of gravity onto the left hand side, then force minus mass times the acceleration of center of gravity is equal to 0, which is similar to the static equivalent to the static problem, which is according to the D'Alembert's principle. According to D'Alembert's principle, a dynamic problem can be converted into static problem with the introduction of pseudo or inertial force. Let's apply the same principle in case of our problem. Let Fr and Ff be the frictional forces between the tire and the ground. These are the forces which are pushing my vehicle. That's the reason for getting acceleration of my vehicle. And let W by G into A is my pseudo or inertial force in this case. Let me take moment about this point. Then moment about this point is equal to minus RR into L, since it is movement in the clockwise direction, plus W into L by 2 plus W by G into A into H is equal to 0. Then RR is equal to W by 2 plus W by G into H by L into A. According to D'Alembert's principle, option C is the right answer. Let's check the same thing according to Newton-Euler's equation. Let again this is Fr and this is Ff. Then Rr plus Rf is equal to W, and Fr plus Ff is equal to mass times the acceleration, which is equal to W by G into A. Let this be equation number 1, this be equation number 2. Then let me take moment about CG or center of gravity. Then H into Fr plus Ff minus Rr into L by 2 plus Rf into L by 2 is equal to 0. Because angular acceleration is 0 in this case, that's the reason I alpha is equal to 0. So moment about center of gravity in this case is equal to 0. Let me substitute, instead of Fr and Ff is equal to W by G into A, instead of Rr is equal to W minus Rf in the equation number 3, then Rf is equal to, I will get W by 2 minus W by G into H by L into A. According to Newton-Euler's also, I will get option C as my right answer. Let me take one more problem from the dynamics. Here I have a circular disc and I am applying force of 100 newtons at the center of the circular disc. Given that mass is 10 kg and the radius is 1 meter. And the condition, if the disc rolls without slipping on the floor, we need to find the linear acceleration of the center of the disc. Let me draw the free body diagram of this circular disc. Let this be the weight of the disc and this be the friction force F between the circular disc and the ground. This is the applied force 100 newtons. Let this point be O. Let me take torque or movement about point O, which is equal to 100 into 1, and you can notice here which is not is equal to I times alpha in this case, which is only true if the point happens to be the center of gravity or center of mass, or if it is the point happens to be the inertial point. In this case, this is not the center of gravity point, neither the inertial point. In this case, which is equal to I times alpha plus R Cg cross m into ACG. Then 100 is equal to, I can write I of circular disc is equal to mr square by 2. M in this case is 10, R is equal to 1 by 2 into alpha plus RCG equal to 1 into m is 10. The condition given is rolling without slipping, acceleration of Cg equal to R times alpha of Cg, then 1 into alpha, which is equal to 15 alpha. Then alpha is equal to 100 divided by 15, which is equal to 6.66 radian per second square. But in the question, we need to find the linear acceleration of the center of the disc. We know A is equal to R alpha. We know alpha value. A is equal to R into alpha, which is equal to 1 into 6.66, which is equal to 6.66 meter per second square. Let's take the problem from the statics. Here we have a roller of weight W and we need to identify the correct free body diagram of the roller when the roller is just about to climb over the step. You already know free body diagram is the one where we isolate the body from all the elements that are holding it and replacing them with the corresponding reaction forces and the movements. Let me draw the free body diagram for the roller. In this case, when the roller is just about to climb over the step. What I mean to say, when the roller is just climbing over the step, it loses the contact with the horizontal surface. Let me draw the free body diagram. In this case, this is the roller and this is the weight W and this is the applied force F in this case, and this is the reaction from the step is R. Since the roller is trying to rotate in the clockwise direction, there is a friction which will resist, and this is a force of friction in this direction. Let's check the options. You can look at the option C. This is not at all the free body diagram because it is not at all isolated from the corresponding holding elements. Let's check the option D. Option D also not the right free body diagram because there is a interaction happening with the horizontal surface as well. Option A, because the corresponding frictional force shown in the opposite direction, this is also not the right free body diagram. Option B seems to be the right free body diagram, but we don't have the frictional force in the free body diagram. Let's check what is happening with the frictional force in this case. Let this be the frictional force. Let this be the height h, and this is r minus h, and this is the right angle triangle. Let's say this is point A. This is equal to square root of 2rh minus h square. Let me take moment about point A. Then f into r minus h is equal to w into square root of 2rh minus h square. Then f is equal to w into square root of 2rh minus h square divided by r minus h. In this case, cos theta is equal to r minus h by r, and sin theta is equal to square root of 2rh minus h square divided by r. Let me take the forces, summation of the forces along horizontal as well as along vertical forces. Since it is in equilibrium, the summation of forces would be is equal to 0 in this case. Then this is angle theta, this is also angle theta, this is frictional force F. Then summation of horizontal forces is equal to F cos theta plus applied external force F and minus R sin theta is equal to 0. And summation of vertical forces is equal to F sin theta minus W plus R cos theta is equal to 0. Let's say this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. Then equation number 1 into sin theta plus equation number 2 into cos theta is equal to 0. If I solve the equation number 1 and 2, then I will get frictional force F is equal to 0 in this case. If I go back to the problem, option B would be my right answer. Let's come back to some of the theoretical aspects of engineering mechanics. We keep on saying particle mass and point mass, but in real world there is nothing like a particle. Every object has 3 dimensions with it. Then what is the deal in dealing with the particle? The answer is below. If the dimension of the object compared to its trajectory is negligible or so small, or if the rotation is irrelevant for the analysis perspective. For an example, in case of a car, the rotation of the wheels is irrelevant as the motion of the car as a single entity, or if the motion is straight line. In above cases, the every point on the object has same velocity, acceleration and displacement. Instead of tracking each and every point, we just track the motion of the center of mass point. In above cases, a real life 3-dimensional object can be modeled or idealized as a point mass or a particle mass. We know the axioms of point mass or a particle mass. We know Newton's laws only applicable in case of a point mass or a particle mass. Let's introduce Newton's first law. If the resultant force acting on a particle is 0, then particle remains at rest. What does it mean? It gives you an idea of the concept of rest, or also we express mathematically as the condition of equilibrium. Let me take particle here. Let me apply force F1 in this direction and force F2 in this direction. Assume force F1 and F2 have the same magnitude. If I find the resultant force in the horizontal direction, then the summation of force would be 0 in this case, which will ensure the condition of equilibrium. Let me take one more particle And let me apply force F1 in this direction, force F2 in this direction, which is making some angle theta with the horizontal axis. Force 2 can be resolved into horizontal as well as the vertical component. Assume the horizontal component of force 2 and the horizontal component of force 1 have the same magnitude. If I find the resultant in the horizontal direction, it would be 0. But we are left with one more force in the vertical direction. In order to ensure the complete equilibrium of the particle, we need one more force in the vertical direction to balance the remaining unbalanced force, which will ensure the complete equilibrium of the particle. The conclusion from here is we would need 3 minimum number of forces to ensure the complete equilibrium of the particle in general. Let's apply the same concept in case of a design of a truss structure. This is a place where I want to build or where I want to design my truss structure. And this is the point. Let me connect this point with the two members like this and like this. And these are the one-dimensional members. Each member can offer only one force. If I look at this point, I have only two forces from these two members. In order to ensure the condition of equilibrium, I would need one more force. I can provide one more force with the help of a support. Let me add support like this. At this point, I can ensure the condition of equilibrium. Let me move on. Let me connect this point with this member and with one more member like this. And here I have three members which I can ensure the condition of equilibrium. Let me move on. Let me complete my structure like this, and like this and like this. At the end also, I have only two members. I can complete my structure by providing one more support like this. This is the basic design of my truss structure. Let's move on to one more problem. This is a problem on the truss. For the given loading, identify the zero force members in the truss shown. In order to identify the zero force members, let us say if you have two members like this and like this. If the two members are not collinear, if you have only two members, if they are not collinear, then the two members are zero force members. If the two members are collinear, then the two members are not zero force members. Let us say if you have three members, two members are collinear and one member is like this. Then the two members are non-zero force members, the other member is zero force member. Let's apply the same concept in case of this problem. You can observe here member FB is a zero force member because AB and BC are collinear member and FB is the zero force member. Let's again FG, GH are the collinear member, GC is the zero force member. Again CD and DE are the collinear member, HD is the zero force member. Again you can observe here support at E, the force from the support at E and HE are the collinear members and DE is the zero force member. Again CD is the zero force members correspondingly. And option C would be my correct answer. Let's move on to the problem on the virtual work. We have a frame acted upon by vertical and horizontal forces. We need to find the magnitude of the horizontal component of reaction at S. Virtual work problem, we have to start with the selection of coordinate system, but in the problem we already given with the coordinate system, and the next step is to give the virtual displacements which are compatible with the constraints. What I mean to say, which are compatible with the kinematic constraints. You can see here in the diagram 2, these are the given virtual displacement which are again compatible with the kinematic constraints. At the support S, we are replacing hinge support with the roller with a force at S. And the step 2 is to determine the virtual displacement. Let me write the position coordinate at I. yi is equal to, since this is isosceles triangle, this is 1, this is also is equal to 1, this is equal to root 2, yi is equal to root 2 cos theta, then delta y I is equal to root 2 sin theta into delta theta. Similarly, xl is equal to root 2 sin theta, then delta xl is equal to root 2 cos theta into delta theta. At the moment, we are not at all worried about the sign convention, because during the virtual work calculation, we are taking care of the signs. Let us say if your force and virtual work, virtual displacement are in the same direction, during the virtual work calculation, we are taking the virtual work to be the positive quantity. On the other hand, if the force and the virtual displacement are in the opposite direction, we take the virtual work to be the negative quantity. Let's calculate the virtual work done here. Then total virtual work delta W is equal to the virtual work from the vertical forces is equal to the angle theta is equal to 45 degrees. Then from 10 kilonewton into theta is equal to 45 root 2 sin theta is 45. Then 1 into 10 kilonewton, 10 into 1 into delta theta, we have plus 10 into delta theta plus 10 into delta theta, plus with the horizontal forces we have 10 into root 2 into, again this angle is 45 degrees, 10 into delta theta, plus at M position we need to take 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 5 into 10 into delta theta, plus at S we have 6 into, let's say the unknown force is Rs into delta theta, which is equal to 90 plus 6 Rs is equal to 0. From here Rs is equal to 15 kilonewtons. Answer A is my right answer. Let me take one more problem. It is related to the energy methods. We have a rigid block of mass m1 with some velocity v0. It strikes another rigid block of mass m2 and they stick together. They jointly move a certain distance and they touch the spring and they stops after certain distance. And we need to calculate the maximum deflection of the spring in this case in centimeters. In the initial place, we need to apply the conservation of momentum. In the later case, we need to apply the conservation of energy. In this case, in the step 1, m1 v1 plus m2 v2, in this case, the mass 2 is stationary, then velocity is 0, is equal to m1 plus m2. Since they stick together, move as a single entity, m1 plus m2 into v2 v dash is equal to m1 plus m2 into v dash. m1 given m1 is equal to 10 kg, v1 is equal to 2, which is equal to 20 is equal to 40 v dash equal to 0.5. In the second case, whatever the energy which is dissipated as the spring energy. In this case, 1 by 2 m1 plus m2 into v dash square is equal to 1 by 2 k x square. Given spring stiffness is equal to 1e5 and the unknown is the x. If you calculate the x in centimeters, x is equal to 1 centimeters. X is equal to 1 centimeter. Let's take up the last problem. We have a block 2 slides outward on the link 1 at uniform velocity of 6 meter per second and link 1 rotating at constant angular velocity of 20 radians per second counterclockwise direction. And we need to find the magnitude of total acceleration in this case. In this case, we use the planar polar coordinates. The acceleration will be given as, which is equal to r double dot minus r theta dot square in r cap is the unit vector again r theta double dot plus 2 r dot theta dot in theta cap. Then in the problem we have given that r dot it is equal to 6, which is constant. Again r double dot is equal to 0 and theta dot is equal to 20 and theta double dot is equal to 0. You can substitute all the values here. Then a is equal to minus, given r is equal to 100 mm, a is equal to minus 0.1 into 20 square r cap plus 2 into 6 into 20 into theta cap, which is equal to minus 40 r cap plus 240 theta cap. Then magnitude of acceleration is equal to square root of 40 square plus 240 square, which is equal to 243.3 meter per second square. We would cover entire syllabus in 10 hours and the expected marks in the engineering mechanics would be around 5 marks, and for the statics part we will spend 4 hours and the dynamics part we will cover in the 4 hours and rest we will spend 2 hours for the energy and impact methods. And the next section would be on the force movement systems and the ways to calculate the resultant. You can see some of the sample problems on the equilibrium side and some of the sample problems on the thrust side, and similarly on the friction side, and some of the sample problems on the virtual work side, and similarly on the dynamic side, and some on the particle kinematics, similarly on the particle kinetics, and similarly on the rigid body kinetics, and so on. Thanks.